Hey guys, I'm Tom from Worth a Watch.
And I'm Scott from Worth a Watch.
That's him. We're going to be talking about the Avengers Infinity War, which we just saw about, an hour ago.
We haven't spoken
to each other
about it.
Since we came out of the theatre. Yeah.
Are we going to do this the whole time? Just back and forth.
You can tell that we're best friends because we finish each other's sentences.
Full stop.
There you go. So yeah. All right, let's get right into it then.
So we agreed not to speak about the movie at all. It was kind of torturous. I almost said something about the soundtrack in the car, but I just said, I think the soundtrack was, and you'll have to listen on to find out what I thought about it. But we're gonna start off by saying whether or not it's worth a watch, because
that's kind of the name of the channel.
It's the name of the channel. So, I guess we'll go 3. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So on the count of 3, we have to say whether it's fuck no, no, I guess, yes, or fuck yes. That's just for people who are new to the channel, who don't know our rating system. It's fairly straightforward. All right.
Let's do it.
Is Infinity War worth a watch? 3, 2, 1... Fuck yes.
Nice.
That's great. Fuck, I had such a good time in that movie. I was, I'm not even like a Marvel fanboy, like at all, but I was just like stoked. I was stoked the entire time. Well, not the entire time, but like I was stoked for a lot of the time.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think considering that I watched every single Marvel film like leading up to this, it definitely, I think, raised my investment in it.
Yeah.
Far more. I think if you have missed a couple of the films, there are certain... the number of films that you've seen prior to this, I think, will really determine your enjoyment of this film. I mean, on the surface, it is a very entertaining film that is pretty much the culmination of what Marvel's been building up to for 10 years.
Yeah.
So, and...
Well, yeah.
I think they pulled it off.
I think they did.
Yeah.
I think they pulled me off like... No, they pulled it off. I think what I liked most about it is that I feel like it made up for 10 years of just no consequence in the Marvel universe. Like, they were... There's weight to it.
Yes.
You didn't feel like they had that safe Marvel blanket around all the characters anymore. You felt like it was kind of like things could go down, and they do go down.
And they do.
And it's great. It's great because it's very refreshing.
Absolutely. And I think like the biggest part of that is absolutely Thanos.
Yeah. He is very big.
He is incredibly big.
He's a big... big fuck off.
Purple...
What would you describe him as?
Oh gosh, I don't know. He's kind of like a big. He kind of looks a bit like a mixture of like Hellboy and
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Since it's played by Josh Brolin.
Yeah, he's a Titan, isn't he? Or
yeah.
Is that how he's described? Thanos the Titan?
I think so. Like, I think that's one thing we should reiterate. Neither of us have read the comics, so. What have you?
No.
No.
But I've read Simpsons comics.
Simpsons comics? Okay.
And they're pretty good.
They
should make a TV show about them.
That's what the movie was missing. Needed more references to the Simpsons comics.
Yeah, but I had a very enjoyable time. I'm glad that I'm not like, I don't really care about Marvel that much. Like, I have a good time in the movies, but I've never really been like, oh yeah, the next Marvel film's coming out. And I was for Infinity War. I was pretty excited, and it paid off for me. I was like, I'm happy with this. And like right from the get-go, it's like...
Serious?
They're taking names and like, yeah, especially, I reckon the soundtrack at the start, that kind of really... through me. Like the soundtrack, it felt very like it had almost a Star Wars quality to it. Like the entire movie, I felt had a Star Wars quality to it because they're kind of roaming all around the universe and like it has this like space opera feel.
I think so. Yeah,
I was digging. Although it's like Disney is kind of like dumbing down all their franchises into one like melded, but it's a good melded blob of
I think it is.
Content.
Yeah, yeah, with just this many characters, I think it can. I was worried that that they weren't going to use the time as best as they could.
Yeah.
And even though it does sort of like jump from place to place, and that sometimes can sort of take away from the weight of a moment.
Yeah.
I think particularly towards the end as well.
I felt that a lot as well.
Yeah.
Because when they're jumping around a lot, and there's like this really like big scene, and they've got all that humor going on, which I think works because it was like it was funny.
For the most part, I'd say that there are moments where I could have used with a little less jokes.
Yeah.
I feel there are certain characters who I feel like have been sort of resorted to comic relief, but at the same time, these characters, they already had been like reverted to that in their previous films, so I can't be too mad.
Yeah.
I like. Are we gonna get into spoilers?
No, it's too early for spoilers.
Too early for spoilers.
We keep.
Okay, we'll get.
I can't speak. That's how good it was.
It's a
good movie.
It'll take away your ability to speak.
Yeah. What else do I want to discuss? It's definitely has more weight to it. It's in terms of characters. I don't know how much we can talk specifically about characters because like some of them do perish.
Yes.
Or one of them, or more, or less than none. I don't know how to not spoil that. But one of the things about that you've said before to me off camera is that you've liked Black Panther and characters like that in movies like Civil War instead of their own movies.
Yes.
Which I think the Russo brothers who wrote and directed, or just directed? Just directed this film. They're good at handling the characters. They're probably the best people in the universe to handle the characters.
Yeah.
Because they made Civil War, they made Winter Soldier, and they're two of the best character films in the MCU.
Absolutely.
Which you would know if you watched our Marvel ranking video.
Yes.
Which is great.
Please watch that.
Yeah. Please.
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 No, yeah, I definitely agree. They know how to give each character, I think, a moment to shine in like a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
They did that really well in Civil War, I think, and I think they continue that on here. I was very curious, like walking into this, to see which characters they would pair together.
Yeah.
Because like there's endless possibilities that you could have, the different dynamics, and I think overall I was really satisfied with who they decided to have meet up with each other.
Yeah. I was too. One qualm I did have was that a lot of the times when the characters did come together, it was very like Deus Ex Machina, like is that a thing? Deus Ex Machina. It felt like I don't know a lot. I think they had a bit too many like character in peril. Another character comes in and saves them, and they're like just out of nowhere. And some of the times it made a little bit less than sense for the character to be there in that time. Like it worked. Like I gave it the license because I was so stoked.
Yes,
Every single time I was just like, yeah, it just came out. I don't know where it came from, but I'm glad that he's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was happy about that.
Nah, I agree. Like, because some of these characters we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Some of them we've been missing.
Yeah. And as I said, not every character. There are obviously going to be characters that get less than others.
Yeah.
Less screen time than others, and less sort of material to work with. But
I loved the 20-minute Hawkeye scene. That was great.
Yeah.
Got the timing.
Just him by himself.
Just Hawkeye alone in his room watching Arrested Development.
Mm-hmm.
That was really just human.
Yeah. It was strange how like they had that for only like 2 minutes, and then for the rest of the 18-minute scene, it was just him staring at the camera.
Yeah. But I liked it. I felt a personal connection.
I thought it was an experiment, and it worked.
Yeah, I think it worked.
Yeah.
I really do think it worked. So we promised ourselves that we wouldn't get into spoilers until I don't know. Did we decide on a time? I think I don't know how long we've been going for, but
neither do I. I mean, without getting into spoilers, yes, you should watch it.
You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's probably the most emotionally weighty movie of the Marvel films.
Here's a question: do you think it could be the best Marvel film?
right now, I don't think I would say it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think when the next Avengers film comes out, I think we'll have a much clearer picture as to where this lies. Because that's...
So you think it's based on what else comes out after it is how you're going to rate it?
Not necessarily, but it's hard to sort of get into this without spoilers. So shall we crack it open?
I'm gonna
open
check how far we are into this. I'm just gonna come back in.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that didn't fuck up the audio in that. Okay, I'm back. And
He's back.
Look, we're... Well, the things I want to discuss about the movie.
Yeah.
Before we get into spoilers.
Okay.
I want to discuss the filmmaking, which I think was great.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think the direction was very, films like this, they kind of, you don't get to have much of the actual artist behind it usually. And I feel like they had enough of that in it that it was still kind of like they had some beautiful stuff going on.
Of course, yeah.
And they had some really nice looking shots and nice camera movement, all that kind of stuff. Just stuff that makes it feel a bit nicer.
Yes, yeah.
And there was an interesting, well, I wouldn't call it a cameo, but there was a surprise actor who who was much larger than he usually is. Did you know that he was going to be in it?
I had no idea.
Okay, I don't want to spoil it for anyone because it's kind of a surprise for me and a nice surprise. But
yeah.
If I say what he's from, that'll
Yeah,
ruin it.
it's a fun little cameo that's...
Is it a cameo? Does it count as a cameo? Because like Matt Damon in Thor Ragnarok, that was a cameo.
Okay, yeah, that was a cameo. This, it's probably... Yeah, he's probably too big of a character to call a cameo, but it's very clear that they're just toying with this actor's, like, how he's...
Too much. The actor's stature.
But no, I thought it was great, and I love how he was game enough to do that. So
yeah, I think that was sick.
Yeah,
because he was in X-Men as well.
He was.
So he's in the universe. Is that? I don't know. I'm not even.
Separate universe, but yeah.
Well,
but,
now they bought it, so I don't know.
Well, who knows? But
Disney will own us soon.
Yes, because the last thing that this universe thing needs is more characters, I think.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well,
there's always more. Because more means more money.
Can we go to spoilers right now?
I reckon we should.
Okay, we're going to go to spoilers.
Yeah.
We're going to start talking spoilers because I have something to say to what he just said.
Okay, so spoilers.
In spoilers. Chant with me. Spoilers. All right. Yeah. The universe does need more characters because fuck, they killed a lot of them. Holy. Okay, I probably shouldn't swear as much. I don't know if this is a family-friendly podcast. We're still kind of ironing out.
Yeah, we can just bleep it out. I'm sure.
I don't want to bleep it all out. I'll swear less. I'll do it less.
All right. Yeah. So a lot of people die in this film.
Yeah, a lot of people and supers and.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's one of the things that I like about it definitely because I was like straight from the get-go, they kill Loki.
Yep.
They kill him, and I'm just like teenage girls everywhere, just kind of
that's
did whatever the opposite of swooning is, or maybe they did swoon.
Maybe I think it's
and maybe some teenage boys.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea that they did that. He's a fan favorite clearly. I mean,
Yeah.
I love him, but
He's great.
I think the fact that he has because in Thor 2, it's thought that he dies, and then I think it helped that he. Had already had that experience of like almost thinking that you lost him, and so I think with killing him off there, that was immediately felt weighty because it was like he's not coming back this time.
And they killed off Thor as well, but then they didn't.
They kill off Heimdall, Idris Elba.
Oh yeah.
Which
typical black guy dies first.
But yeah, I mean that was. I mean, it didn't have as much weight, but it sort of did. I think it made it clear that like now Thor is the only one in his universe, and also just it's such a huge contrast from the end of Thor Ragnarok where you've got all these people. Like, does that mean Korg died as well?
Yeah, I was thinking about Korg the entire time.
Yeah.
I was like, "Where's Korg? Where's Korg? Okay, but is Korg alright? Because he would have been like at least semi-film.
Exactly, and there's actually that's one thing that I felt throughout the entire film because there are certain characters that just, I mean, not big characters but side characters in each of the. in each of the respective universes, universi, no, that aren't there. Like, even though there's like the whole part of it is dedicated in Wakanda. Was Lupita Nyong'o in it?
No.
No. Yeah. So
I guess she had bigger things to do.
she must have had another movie to shoot or some shit like that.
Yeah. See, that's about. I didn't notice that at all.
Nah. Yeah.
Like, really. Was she really? Yeah.
She wasn't huge. I mean, she's the love interest of what's his name? Black Panther, T'Challa.
First name Black, last name Panther.
Mr. Panther. Yeah.
Well, she's not anymore.
Oh, well, yeah. That's he's.
Because I don't know if you can call him dead. He's just wiped from existence, basically.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. Like, I was like shocked that the end with Thanos' plan coming to fruition.
Yeah.
I thought that was great, and it's like as soon as the credits roll with him, just like smiling, he's like, "Yep, I've done it. I've killed half the universe. Let's go."
An axe buried in my chest. Everything's chill. But you know, I was in the cinema next to you, and when Thor stabs him through the chest,
Yeah.
I went to you. I was like, he's gonna do that because
Yeah.
he didn't go with the hand. And then he did it.
And he did.
So I think I'm a prophet. I can see the future.
See, I didn't even notice you do that because I was just like, shit. Yeah. I have to reiterate. Thanos, I think, is a great villain.
Yeah, he's really good, and even his like CGI horde or CGI like harem of generic evil dudes were actually kind of interesting to me. Like,
Yeah.
they seem pretty cool, especially Ebony Moore, which is the guy who looks like he's played by Benedict Cumberbatch, but isn't played by Benedict. Oh, he could be. I don't know.
Maybe.
He was great. I love how like his kind of like religious kind of spiel that he had. Movie starts off with him. It's a good way to start the movie. Because it really sets the tone for how it's going to be kind of like a bit darker.
Yes.
In Marvel terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really... I liked the development of Thanos like very much. How there is... Because obviously we know that Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy is his daughter, so you've already got that sort of connection. Because one of the biggest things I was concerned about is because they've been building Thanos now for 6 years since the first Avengers.
Yeah.
And like you've like, oh, he's the real deal. And I was wondering how they could like set that up in this movie whilst also like keeping it moving forward. And yeah, like right from the beginning, he's scary.
Yeah, he's a very formidable.
Yeah, like I was almost like he's gonna bash someone up any minute now, and I'm like, oh god.
And that's part of what makes all the heroes seem very like. What's the word?
Just like vulnerable. Like
Yeah, or like
vulnerable.
Way more vulnerable than they ever have been. And it's like it's always been building up to this because like the Avengers, it's always kind of been like Avengers are really tough, sick, but here's another tough villain, and they're tough enough to beat him, and then another tough villain.
Yeah.
And this is like the main guy who's like, you know what? I'm gonna do the old snappo.
Just like that.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was thought it was excellent. One thing that we mentioned before, just moving away from Thanos for a bit, how like my favorite Marvel film is still Civil War, I'd say,
Okay.
and the reason for that is because I think the Russo brothers just did a fantastic job of balancing those characters while still making a Captain America's movie.
Which they did in this movie as well.
They did.
Well,
yeah.
You know, it wasn't anyone's movie, but
yeah, it wasn't,
they did a
no.
good balancing job.
They did, and I personally, actually, I've said this before to you. I prefer Black Panther. I prefer Black Panther and Spider-Man in Civil War than in their own films.
Yeah.
I find them more, their characters just a bit more interesting, and I feel the same way with this film and Doctor Strange. I think I actually prefer Doctor Strange in this movie than in...
Okay.
Because he's already been established, and it's... Because personally I found like the origin story of...
Origin stories get stale.
They do. They really do.
Yeah.
And I like how they gave Doctor Strange an important part. Obviously because he's got
He's got time.
He's got a lot of time.
He's got heaps of time.
Yeah.
But he had like this kind of arc where it was like, oh, he sacrificed himself or something like that. Like, we sacrificed the time stone after previously being like, I'm not sacrificing this for anything.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't know if that was because he saw the future and was like, this is how it has to play out for us to win eventually.
Yeah.
Or if he was just like, I suddenly have a heart and I care about Tony Stark.
Yeah, that was
a bit weird.
It was a bit forced, I think. But see, that's what my biggest worry is, because like I really felt that the weight as soon as like half the heroes were starting to disintegrate after Thanos did the old snap.
I was so pissed that War Machine didn't disintegrate. I was like, you just shit Iron Man.
Yes, yeah.
Nothing against, what's his name? What's
his name? Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
Cheadle.
He's great. Love Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
I just don't like War Machine because I'm just like, you just are, and if you just someone...
You just took someone else's like work. And
yeah, it's not...
Yeah, it is a bit like that. It's funny you mentioned like you wish that he died, because my reactions while everyone was disintegrating, because I think Bucky is the first one to disappear, and I was like, oh no. I was like, because I love Bucky and Captain America.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier scene where Chris Evans, Captain America,
yes,
says, "Bye, I'm with you to the end of the line." Probably the only thing in the MCU that like tears me up, because it's just like, oh, they're the boys.
That dynamic is just yeah.
It's like, it's as a man, it's like relatable, because like having a mate like that and just like losing him and then he comes back and then fucking.
Yeah, it's really it was tough. So like that got me from the beginning, and then who else? There were so many like. I'm pretty sure what's her name, Scarlet Witch also disappeared, which that was okay. The one
I was fine with that.
I mean, like, I'm not totally invested in her. She's fine. I think she's like super overpowered.
She's OP.
Yeah, she is. But I was feeling it, and then I remember because then Drax and Mantis disappear.
Yeah.
And that was one of the characters that I was talking about earlier that has been reduced to comic relief now, Drax. Because especially in Guardians 2, he is now... There's not really any character there like in the first Guardians.
He had a bit more in this one.
A little bit more, yeah.
Because he was a bit more like vengeful, like, you had that whole like backstory with his wife and kid. And
he
wants to kill Thanos because of it.
I think that's there. I personally find him a bit... He's been typecast to that just because Dave Bautista is just so good at the comedy.
Yeah.
And now I feel like they rely on him now to always make the jokes, and it's sort of
makes him seem less formidable.
Yeah, it makes him that, and sort of takes away from that character, because even though he is supposed to take everything literally, I think they just push it a bit too far with the humor. So when he did end up disintegrating, I was like, that's not too bad. And also with Mantis, I personally don't really find the character of Mantis that interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen Guardians 2. That's the only one she's in, right?
Yeah, she's introduced in that one.
I'm just like, okay, you're a Mantis. That's weird. One scene I want to talk about is the scene with like Star-Lord and how he completely ruins everything for the squad, the boys. I don't know, like. It's been a while since I saw Guardians. I would place him slightly above being that kind of reactionary character.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I completely bought that. I can see why it was necessary, but I don't know. It's a bit of a bummer because I'm just like, you kind of. Yeah. You shot at her like half an hour before, and now you're just like, I'm gonna completely put everything to the side to.
No, I can see that. I think because all these characters have been introduced in other movies that have been directed by other people, and so I think sometimes there is going to be that feeling of a character acting slightly differently as to what they were established in their individual films. Yeah. I think that was definitely one moment. I get it like that because. Yeah, that scene where I did feel when Gamora died. Particularly, I think from Thanos's. I think that was a really good scene in developing Thanos's character, because
and that's why they put it there.
Yeah.
How random was Red Skull though?
Yeah, that was kind of random.
I was wondering what he had tossed into the thing to get the Soul Stone, and I think it might have been his nose. because he's missing a nose. So I guess he really likes his nose.
But he was always missing a nose, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I don't think... Well, he never got the Soul Stone. I don't know why...
Very weird.
Why was he chosen to guard that place?
Well, he seemed to be talking about how, like, you get cursed to guard it if you try and get it. And I was like, okay.
Like, because he died because he, like, touched the Tesseract. In the...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so...
But he was still alive.
Yeah, it was strange.
He was like a floating demon thing. He's such a... Was that Hugo Weaving?
Pretty sure it was, yeah.
So that was Hugo Weaving.
I think it was. I can't remember the voice. It may have not been, but...
I feel like they may not have bothered with Hugo Weaving because he's just like a CGI Red Skull guy.
That sucks, because Hugo Weaving is great. He's a great actor who...
He played our Prime Minister.
He did. He did.
That's a really specific joke.
Yes.
Ozpol only. Opening scene.
Yeah.
I had a problem with it. The problem was, why was Hulk a surprise? What happened? Because they were like, we have a Hulk, and then Hulk comes out and he fights the Thanos for a bit. And it's just like, why didn't this fight happen earlier? Like, the ship is already clearly ravaged. You know, what happened here? That they were just like, we're not going to fight you.
That's, I don't really think there's much logical explanation for that other than just a crowd-pleasing moment, which didn't really, like, last long.
Like, they've already had a we have a Hulk bit. Like,
yeah.
Was that the exact line? I don't remember, really.
It was... Yeah, in the first Avengers, that's what they say.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in Infinity War. When Loki says it. Loki says it? No. Chris? I keep calling them by the actors' names.
It was... Yeah, it was Loki.
Yeah, it was Loki.
It was Loki, yeah.
Yeah, like, I was just like, why... I don't know. Maybe something happened to Hulk off screen that, like, rendered him incapacitated and then he came back or something like that.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah. I think that's sort of questioning the logic too much, because the entire... Like, you have to ask yourself, did he turn into Hulk or was he always Hulk? Because, like, the entire movie... He can't turn into Hulk.
Do you reckon it's because Hulk was scared of Thanos?
Possibly. It's not really explored much. That all it says is, like, whenever he tries, he's just like, Hulk's like, no.
Yeah.
and
like, Hulk got beaten to shit by Thanos.
He did, yeah. Which kind of puts I think that was a great way to set up Thanos' strength as well.
Yeah, it was good.
Because,
yeah. So I think I don't know. I guess it's probably in the comic books. So.
Probably. Like, if we don't know something, we can just say it's probably the comics explain it.
But yeah, I would assume that what happened was Hulk was scared because Thanos is a big burly boy who bashes big green boys.
Big green boy, yeah. Yeah.
Not exclusively. He bashes a lot of other people. I'm gonna
crack another one.
I'm afraid so.
So yeah. What else happened?
So we had the whole Vision and Scarlet Witch off in
Scotland, I think it was.
Scotland, where they will deep fry your kebab.
Yes, they will.
Keep an eye out for that. There's a sign. They have it.
There's a cameo. There's a cameo for the sign that says.
Do you reckon that was a humorous thing? Because they have like a shot of Scarlet Witch in a big like romantic sort of moment, and they have a sign that says "We will deep fry your kebab." Like very prominent. It's quite prominent. They definitely would have noticed that it was there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But no one in the cinema laughed. I did. I thought it was great. But no one else.
Yeah, I think it was probably just something that they. I'm not even sure if it was meant to be noticed. I mean, is that an actual thing?
I feel like, okay, you frame up a shot and you're like, there is a sign that says, we will deep fry your kebab. This shot is for a big, like, romantic moment. We should probably not distract from that. But they were just like, no, we'll put it in. So I'm assuming they were trying to make it humorous, which I think worked in my opinion. But anyway, we're getting off topic. So Scarlet Witch and Vision have this romance that I don't remember happening in any other movie.
Yeah, I think it's sort of alluded to in Civil War, because in Civil War, when the whole conflict happens, Tony is trying to keep Scarlet Witch in the Avengers headquarters. Yeah, and he sort of entrusts Vision to watch over her. and they sort of like develop this friendship. And then when and then Hawkeye comes back, and they sort of like incapacitate Vision while they escape to go see Cap. And so that was probably the extent. Aside from that, there really isn't too much.
Okay, so you just have to assume that they.
It does feel a bit forced.
Also, speaking of Vision, pathetic. Absolutely pathetic in this movie. He's meant to be like this godlike. He has an Infinity Stone in his head, and he's just useless. He's like a damsel in distress, the entire movie.
Yeah,
I feel like he should have been an asset instead of just being like completely like, kill me please, which he wants.
He should have. Well, I think the character that they've set up though, because he was. Since Age of Ultron is one that is very like benevolent, that avoids, like even in Civil War, like he could have he sided with Tony, and like that alone should have like won I think that team, because he is like supposed to be, if he can lift Thor's hammer, obviously he should be.
Well, that's not really a question of strength. That's more of a question of pure of heart, and he's like
he's worthy. He's
a vision of.
Yeah,
purity.
So I think because I think he is supposed to be very powerful, but I think they've sort of held back from using that too much. Otherwise, it's just like, well, why doesn't he just use his power to decimate everyone then? But
I think you mean decimate 1/10 of everyone.
1/10 of everyone.
Well, not you say decimate. Is decimate when you destroy 1/10 of something, or you destroy 9/10 of something, leaving only 1/10?
I don't know. I'm not sure the Vision is thinking this.
It doesn't have much to do with Infinity War. So
not really, no.
Okay. Vision. What?
So yeah, he's a bit of a punce in this one, but
he's a bit of a punce. He is. That's the best way to describe it. But luckily, he's dead now, so that's fine.
Yes, it's Thanos wrecks him, decks him, and he's all grey and disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I think he kind of looks cool as a grey. Not as a
does.
corpse, but as like grey. Like if he was.
Yeah.
If they put a different stone in his head or something. He is in Wakanda, so.
Yeah.
Wakanda,
yeah.
So they may like revive him and be like, you have a. I don't know. I really like the scientist girl. Shuri, isn't it Shuri?
Shuri, yeah.
Yeah, she's cool. I'm glad she was in it.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of holding out for a Shuri and Spider-Man moment in that movie.
Oh yeah, that would have been.
Because I thought it would have been cool. They kind of like they seem
age.
similar ages, unless she's really youthful looking. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're both nerds.
How old is she supposed to be?
47.
She plays the part.
So yeah, she was doing stuff. She wasn't in it for long. But she got those blasters out, which was
She did. She didn't get that. She didn't get Vision's gem out in time.
Never mind. She's garbage.
That's alright.
Take it all back.
Yeah. Did you geek out when when Captain America first showed up?
Geek out. I don't like that word.
Well, not geek out, but like, did you get goosebumps? Or?
I get goosebumps whenever I see a big muscly man.
Did you become erect?
Maybe let's not talk about it.
Okay.
But yes.
I didn't say what got erect.
I stiffened up.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yes, I was stoked to see Captain America. It was another Deus Ex Machina moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Who
again,
cares?
as I said earlier, I was happy every single time because I'm just like, those are the boys, they're the fellas.
Yep.
That's great.
It is great.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was happy with the movie. I had a great time. I was smiling ear to ear pretty much every fight scene because there's just so much cool stuff happening.
Yes. Yeah.
Thor really came out the gates.
Mm-hmm.
He really stepped it up a notch, especially once he got that
Yep.
big axe thing. I thought that was cool.
He did.
And when Groot made himself the handle, I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Teenage rebellious Groot. I like that aspect of him.
Yeah, that was a good, like, I think, defining moment for him because, yeah, just even when he's just briefly introduced in Guardians 2, it's in one of the after credit scenes. He's pretty much
Groot.
Baby Groot.
In Guardians 2?
Yeah.
No, he's introduced in post credits Guardians 1.
Baby Groot is
sprout.
teenage Groot.
So he's not in Guardians 2 at all?
Baby Groot is in Guardians 2. It's just he's Baby Groot the entire movie, and then in the after credit scene, he's teenage Groot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen it.
well, you should see it.
I should watch all the Marvel movies in 3 days.
Yeah.
That's how long it would take, I think.
It would. It's about...
Well, now that Infinity War.
Yeah.
So where would you place Infinity War in the grand scheme of Marvel films?
Ranking wise,
What did you have at number 5?
number 5 was Thor Ragnarok, I'm pretty sure.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. Yes, it was, yeah. 5 was Thor Ragnarok, and then I had the first Iron Man at number 4.
And then don't say anything more because people have to watch the video.
You're going to have to watch
You
that
have
to
to watch the
video.
video.
But I'd probably put this...
It's difficult to put it top 5 because you have to push something else out.
It is, yeah.
It's hard to compare it to Thor Ragnarok because Thor Ragnarok's sort of a comedy in my eyes. Like it's almost an action comedy like Rush Hour.
Just like Rush Hour.
Just like I wish Jackie Chan was in the MCU. How
He
great
should have
would
played
that
Thanos.
be? Well, okay, so I'm going to be honest. I read up on the Snap, which is a big event in Marvel Comics before seeing the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And because everyone who's read the comics was talking about how they were like, "Oh, the Snap's going to happen in Infinity War," and I was like, "What's the Snap?" And it's like, it's the Snap.
It's
half the universe gets wiped out, which I think is hilarious, by the way. The fact that he just wants to wipe out half of everything.
Yeah, so it's not totally bad.
It's almost like the producers were like, well, the comic book writers were like, all the bad guys want to destroy everything. What if, hear me out, what if he just wanted to destroy half of everything?
I think you're onto something.
And Disney were just like, take all of the money. Yeah.
Yeah, nah. Nah.
I think, I guess the whole balancing thing really adds a second dimension to his character because he's not really like, I'm completely evil. He's like, in my head, I think I'm doing good.
Yes, yeah.
And everyone's like, no, that's genocide, Thanos.
What, half? Yeah, that's all right.
Well, but he was like, he's like, rich, poor, doesn't matter. I'm like, yeah, good on you, man. 2018.
Yeah.
Everyone's included in the genocide.
He's fair. But I'd say thinking back to all the villains, he's probably, top 5 of the villains in Marvel, I would say.
Well, he's definitely, comparing the film to Civil War, he's definitely a better villain.
Villain.
He's definitely a better villain than in Civil War.
Yeah, I don't think the villain in Civil War gets enough credit, just because he has no superpower. He has no he's not a looming. He doesn't have nearly the same presence as Thanos has. But I like how manipulative he was in terms of just breaking the Avengers up, and he succeeds in it. And he's the only one.
Look, you know what? You got a point. I always kind of look at him like you're just some random German guy or something.
Yeah. Well, but they explained his backstories because I think his...
It was kind of weak, I think. I remember it being like one of my kids died in the big New York battle or something like that.
Yeah, it was Sokovia. It was
it's just like... Yeah. I hate it when people blame the Avengers for stuff that they happened when they're trying to protect stuff, because it's like, you blame for the damage in New York. It would be tenfold if they didn't fight back. What do you expect?
It's true. I guess you can't really be too picky with these superhero films because
also it may be indicative of reality. Like politicians might do that if superheroes are real. They might blame them for the stuff.
Maybe. But what are we talking about? Coming back to Thanos.
I'm just going to check that the camera's still recording.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
recording. Okay, so we lost video there for a bit, but that's fine.
Cool. All right. We're fine.
We still have the audio, and this is basically, it's a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's it's a 40-minute podcast at this point. So that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Look, anyone who was really tuned into 30 minutes of that would probably have zoned out from looking at us and how handsome and attractive we are. Yeah, I think we're done. But we're back. So. You can look at us now.
We're back,
which is great news for you.
Yes.
What were we talking about? The villain in Civil War. let's stop talking.
Let's stop talking about that. And like
Infinity War.
I do want to talk about that ending for Infinity War because that really was I loved that finale when everyone was disintegrating and like the fact that there was
I love a bit of disintegration.
It was. I felt the weight of it. The fact that there was no music at all. Like
yeah,
I think
it felt really eerie and just like empty and cold, which is like what half the universe disappearing would feel like.
Yeah, there was like hopeless. It was just.
Yeah.
And I love when the credits came up right after Thanos is like in his like beautiful world and he's like, job well done, and like the credits popped up and I was like, good. I don't feel cheated. I don't feel like I'm like I've been like I thought this was supposed to be separate from the fourth Avengers because it was initially Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, and then the people behind us in the cinema were upset.
Yeah,
they were upset, and it's just like, well, it's still a complete story.
Yeah,
I definitely feel like it's still a complete story, and I'm still happy with how it went.
Yeah,
and that's all I can really ask for because I can't. If you don't want to watch a movie that has other movies tie into it, you don't watch a Marvel movie.
Of course,
like it has. It's going to be continued elsewhere, and that's great, I think, because it's a great movie, and if they keep it going like that, then it's going to be great.
Absolutely.
And I'm keen to see what happens next. I'm really glad that Captain America's still in it. Well, he's just whatever his name is. What's his name?
What, Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers.
Yes.
Great name.
See, that's the thing, because I was surprised that they still referred to him as Captain America.
Well, did they?
Well, they like, hey Cap, like they never. He didn't he introduce himself as?
Yeah. See, that's one of the scenes. I am Groot.
Yeah.
Groot says I am Groot, and he says I am Steve Rogers. So it's like that's a bit of like a.
Yeah.
I'm not Captain America.
Exactly, because by the end of Civil War, he's definitely, I think, has gotten rid of that mantle. He's just a guy now.
He's just a guy and a great looking guy.
He's a fantastic.
There was like a bit where he's on screen and like one of the women behind us in the cinema was like, "Ooh," and like the girl next to her was like, "Oof, yeah," and I was like, "Me too, guys." I'm on board that train as well.
Yeah, he's great. He owns that character.
He's really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sad when he's gone. Because I'm assuming he will go at some point. Yeah,
well, he wasn't even supposed to be in the next Avengers film. His contract, I think, ran out.
But then he renewed it for one more.
Yeah, I think he said, like may as well.
Why not?
Exactly, yeah. This is my... the one thing I wanted to mention about the ending is that I really hope they don't... I want the characters who disappeared to stay dead.
Yeah.
I really do. If they end up bringing them back, I think it'll really take away from just...
everything it's done. Yeah. And that's why it's... that's why I agree with you when you say that rating the film, you have to know the context of it. Because a lot of the reason that it's good is it does like weighty stuff, like getting rid of half the characters.
Of course, yeah.
But if they undo that in the next film, it's kind of like, well, it's kind of empty. Although I like a lot of characters that disappeared, so that it's upsetting to me. Exactly,
but this is the one thing that I thought after watching all the films. I was like, someone big has to die in this one for me to like really maintain investment in this. As entertaining as the films are, I want there to be some sort of serious stakes, and even I don't know if that's asking too much, but I'm scared. Oh, not scared, but I'm concerned that. Given what they've shown in this film, such as like the Doctor Strange thing where he was looking through all the possible futures and there's only one.
Yeah.
And he said, this is the only way. And so, that time stone, I feel like, couldn't they just like, but then again, if they kill Thanos, he'll come back as well, won't he? So
I have no idea.
This is why you can't like think too much about the logic and the physics of this, of the
just turn your brain off.
Yeah. I mean, it's still entertaining, and then obviously with the after credit scene, with the introduction of what's her name,
Captain Marvel,
or the hinting of Captain Marvel, to see where that fits in. So
it would have been handy to have her during the fight.
It would have
immediately after.
Yeah, but we'll see, and that's another thing as well. Like we were talking about this briefly, I think. They've already lined up all these sequels in the future.
We weren't talking about the movie, though. Just want to make that clear.
Not the movie. Not the
We were discussing the possibility because there's a Black Panther 2, and there's a Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man's evaporated, and so is Black Panther. So I don't know. Could Marvel really just release the information for a sequel?
Well, they could
as a misdirect, as to be like, no one will think these characters will die.
Potentially, unless they take the route of like setting it before the events of this film or something like that. But I feel like there are too many strands, like Bucky being in Wakanda and things like that. Also, that's another thing. Announcing these movies, kind of, it's so tough because like then you assume, these people don't die then. They've announced a Guardians 3, so does that mean, since Guardians of the Galaxy 3, does that mean now Gamora is just not going to be there, and so is Drax and Mantis?
Star-Lord evaporated.
Star-Lord as well, yeah.
They pretty much all did.
It's just right.
So that's part that makes me, like, either it's a misdirect and they're not actually going to make those movies, which I don't even know if that's a thing that they can do.
Yeah.
Like,
God, that would be a ballsy move if they did that.
That'd be balls out.
I would love that. I already respect Marvel for innovating and like setting up the whole idea.
Just their production schedule to me is impressive. I'm just like, you have movies lined up so far ahead. I don't even have tomorrow lined up. Like, for me as an individual, I still don't know what I'm doing. Yeah,
they planned, and I think that's why I have respect for them, because they created so many copycats.
They're like the Batman of superhero movies, and not in that way, as in they know they've got everything. They know what they're doing.
They know exactly.
It's ironic because DC is like, they're bad.
Yeah, they're catching
they're
up.
Doing great.
They're just basically seeing what's out there and being like, we need to do that too. So yeah, kudos to Marvel for actually making it work.
Yeah.
Like they set up the first couple of films led up to the Avengers, and they managed to. I think it got a bit shaky in the middle of it, but I really think they did.
In the middle of the phase, or in the middle of Infinity War?
Not in the middle of Infinity War, just in the sort of phase 2-ish. Like Age of Ultron was sort of like another culmination, but it didn't really feel that big because I think they were still had in mind the success of the Avengers.
And they didn't have the Russo brothers directing it.
Yeah, it's so weird that these guys managed to do it because they were known for comedy.
Yeah,
and I don't know how they managed to transition from that style to this.
I think comedy is the hardest genre because to make someone laugh is very difficult.
Yeah,
I think it's very hard to do. You can have action on the screen, you can have all this, but to make someone laugh, you have to really just understand people.
Yeah.
And to understand people means to be able to write good characters and, portray good characters. So I think that's why they're so good at it.
Yeah.
Because Marvel's always had that undertone of humor, and it's just being able to manipulate emotion. That's what filmmakers do, and the Russo brothers do it well. And also there's two of them, so it's kind of cheating.
It is, yeah.
Other directors, they just get one guy.
It's kind of strange how like they came from comedy, but their films, well, especially Winter Soldier and Civil War, have like Winter Soldier actually in particular is probably the least funny of the films.
That's true. Yeah,
they never resorted to their comedic background and like all the quippiness. I mean, it has its place and all. It's just sometimes it can get a bit overbearing.
Yeah, I agree. The quippiness, like, I enjoy it. It keeps the film light.
Yeah,
which is a double-edged sword because it's like, I'm gonna continue enjoying my life after watching this movie instead of like, I know, what's a really dark movie you've seen?
Dark movie?
I think No Country for Old Men really shook me after I watched that. And it's just like, I don't really enjoy that feeling. Like, I want to be the kind of person who's like, I want to be affected by a movie, but also I'm like, No Country for Old Men, I was seeing that guy with the air cannon for nights after. And with Marvel films, I'm like, lighthearted tone. Yeah, people occasionally die. Well, not really, but
yeah.
Now. But
I think the biggest thing about Marvel films is I think they're intended to be a communal experience.
Yeah.
They work best when you see them in the cinemas with like a huge crowd of people.
Yeah.
Because watching them like by myself, it was a lot of the jokes do sort of fall flat.
Yeah,
I
really?
think. Yeah, especially on a second rewatch, the ones that you expect. That's partly the reason why I like Thor Ragnarok so much, is because I think that the humor is very singular and
It's fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the Marvel jokes are they're kind of like the same thing over and over again. They're reliable. They're really reliable.
Exactly, like dramatic moment, and
then just like something that takes away. And a lot of the humor is derived from the fact that they're being like silly in a big dramatic moment. Like
they don't want to, because obviously these films have to cater to everyone, like from young children through, and regardless of your knowledge of the comics.
Yeah.
And so they're digestible. Marvel get a lot of flack for that as well, in how formulaic they are. But I think looking at the whole thing, though, it's very clear that even though they're trying to create this universe and trying to tie everything together, obviously some films are going to suffer because of that. But the films that they really do care about, I think, end up paying off really well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And the films where they get a director with a vision, and the films where they actually care.
They actually do, yeah.
Because I guess they care, but at the end of the day, they're a money-making machine.
They are, and my goodness, they're going to make a shitload.
They're going to make so much money. I might even see it again.
I probably will. Like
I don't really see movies again because I'm like, this 2 hours could be spent on new content.
Yeah.
But it was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
And
sorry. Yeah.
No, go ahead, man.
I definitely didn't feel the running time.
How long was the runtime?
It's 2.5 hours. It's the longest Marvel film.
Yeah. See, I had to pee, but that was the only way I felt it, because I was just like, enjoyable.
Yeah. I was always curious as to what was going to happen next. I mean, obviously with a film this big, it's the structure of it can get a bit muddled, which takes away from some of the dramatic impact. But I have to commend the Russo brothers, because
they did a great job.
Yeah, I'd be like completely overwhelmed if I had to like add all these characters in and like have
it's
to.
Possibly because you've never directed a film before.
Yeah, I should probably try
that.
Try one and then
and then instantly get hired by Marvel.
Yeah,
they hire a lot of up and comers.
Yeah,
because they're cheaper and they can control them better.
Yeah,
we're never getting invited to Marvel.
Yeah, it's funny that. Oh well, it sometimes it works, sometimes it
works
doesn't.
out. Yeah, it does. Because, yeah. Well, do you want to wrap that up there? Do you have any final thoughts on Infinity War? Summations?
Yeah. Go see the movie. It's definitely, like, I'm sure you already are.
It's the movie. You have to see it, or else you'll be a loser and all your friends won't like you.
Yes.
They might already not like you. Who knows?
Contribute to the $2 billion that it's probably going to make, and say that, yep, I helped it reach that amount of money.
Yep, I gave Disney more money.
Mm-hmm. As if they need more.
That's the thing that always gets to me. I'm just like,
yeah,
this company doesn't need my money. Like, I went and saw that, and not like A Quiet Place or like a smaller film that kind of would benefit from the money. But I'm a big scaredy cat, and I don't like scary movies. I'm sorry.
Well, fair enough. Do you think it's gonna gross more than the first Avengers film?
I would hope so, because it's better than the first Avengers film.
You think so?
Yeah, because the first Avengers film, as fun as it is, as like great it is to watch, I was bored the second time for sure. I watched it, I was like, yeah, right. Yeah. And also, it doesn't have the gravity, it doesn't have the weight of this one. It's just the characters all feel incredibly safe all the time, and you're just like, I'm not concerned. Loki, great villain, but not really. He wasn't as formidable as Thanos, and all the big CGI horde of Kree. I want to say Kree. I don't know if that's the right thing. No,
no,
Kree something else.
Kree, I think, is what Ronan was, the accuser, the bad guy in Guardians.
I'm Ronan the accuser. I accuse you.
What a title to like live with.
Yeah. Whatever they were, they were bad. I was just like, yep, horde of monsters. Okay, fine.
I.
It had that, like, it gave way for that cool New York scene. Anyway, getting off topic. Infinity War. Fuck yes, worth a watch.
Yes.
100%. And that about wraps us up for the podcast.
I'm afraid so.
That's it. We've been speaking at you for about an hour now. That really flew by. Holy shit.
Yeah, it did.
Wow. Just anyway, let us know if you'd like to see more of this happening, because we definitely
enjoy doing it.
we're happy sitting at a table and chatting to each other about movies.
Yeah,
because that's kind of what we do anyway.
it kind of is. Yeah,
Sometimes we play Super Smash Brothers,
and
but
yeah,
only sometimes. But yeah, check out Infinity War. It's one of the best movies Marvel's released in a while. It's got a bunch of good characters that you know and love. And it goes for a very long time, so you don't have to think about the fact that you're going to die one day.
Yeah. And see it sooner than later, because...
Wait, yeah, we're recommending this at the end of the spoiler bit.
Yeah.
So,
just go...
You've already seen it if you're up to this point, or you're just a psychopath who loves spoilers.
Yes.
But either way, thanks for watching.
Thanks,
We're
guys.
worth a watch. That's Tom.
That's Scott.
I'm Scott.
Yeah.
And thanks for tuning in.
Catch you next time.
How do you end a podcast?
I don't know. Like this.